Hello all, my name is Christopher Samuels and I'm presently in my personal library. This is in the Cayman Islands where I reside. I decided this morning that I wanted to talk about one of my favorite authors, and that is a man by the name of Joel Augustus Rogers, who is a black man of from actually Jamaica. Uh, but anyway, today is Sunday, the 23rd of October, 2016. Well, this is a gonna be an unedited video. So you just got kind of see with me, sort of roughshod in a way. But anyway, Joel Augustus Rogers is a prolific writer, and the first time that I came in contact with his work was, I can't remember the exact year, but I would say it would have been possibly pre-2000. I'm thinking about maybe at least 99. Yeah, probably about 99. If it's in the 2000, it would be in the early 2000s. But anyway, I went to a trip. I went on a trip with my wife to Jamaica, and we were staying with one of her friends. And at this friend's boyfriend house, he had a library, and majority of the books in the library was of an Afrocentric nature. But at that time, I didn't have the knowledge that I have now, where I could fully appreciate that library. So in that library, I came across this book by Joel Augustus Rogers. I don't know how clear you can see that, but it's volume 1 of a book called Sex and Race. So so it's Sex and Race, Volume 1. This is I tell you, this is an amazing book. I would say all of Rogers' books are amazing, believe me. But anyway, when I first looked into this book, my mind, based on my conditioning at the time, I tell you, based on my conditioning at the time, my mind would constantly reject the information that I was reading in this book. My mind it would like, it couldn't take it. It was straight up rejecting it. Because it was not like nothing I've ever seen in my entire life. So, for example, here is a picture from a old manuscript, and you can see the Moors' heads on the coat of arms, and the Black Knight here. So ancient manuscript here. But anyway, my mind totally rejected the information that I saw in this book. It took years of, I would have to say, reconditioning for me to fully appreciate, and just to get my mind to accept this information based on the colonial brainwashing um, that we receive down here in these islands. Um, these type of books are straight up, I can say straight up, pretty much non-existent in the Cayman Islands. Um, you might, if you might, if you're lucky, find if an Afrocentric enthusiast order a book, and by some chance they don't go and pick it up, maybe by luck you might find one on a bookshelf in Cayman. But other than that, you can forget it. Believe me, you can forget it. I know what I'm talking about. You can forget it. So yeah, Sex and Race, Volume 1. Um, so there's one. It's 3 volumes to this. 1, Volume 2. Hopefully, wait a minute, cause hopefully I made a mistake with that. Cause it don't show on the front. Let me just double check here. No, correction. Cause it just says Sex and Race on the front. It don't have the volume. But this is the cover of Volume 2. Sorry about that. They're basically different colors. Yeah, so you can see inside Volume 2. So yes, and this is Volume 3. I would say if anyone is interested in getting into this form of research or literature or whatever of an Afrocentric nature, I would strongly recommend um, they start with at least one of his books. Anyone, it doesn't matter. So that's 1, 2, and 3. I don't have all of his books, but I'm just gonna show some of his books. Um, this is a guy who, by the way, wrote for Marcus Garvey paper, and he traveled the world extensively doing his research. He was a self-taught historian. So his other book here, From Superman to Man, really good book. I'm not gonna go into a book review. Try not to, but just kind of just showing you what I have here. Another good book. One thing about his books is that most of them have a lot of pictures that back up what he's saying. It's I mean, a lot of pictures, a profusion of pictures he have in his books. So he have From the Beginning of Time to the Present, Your History by J.A. Rogers, a special reprint edition, first published in 1940. This one is like in a comic book style, and it have sort of like little almost like little vignettes almost of each little story, I guess, entry. So back in them time, kind of going on random here, but just to show you inside. This is a good book for anyone. But if you have children and you want to get them interested in their history, I would recommend this book, because it got this the exciting pictures that they can look at and read. Another book by him is America, Africa's Gift to America. This book also has a lot of pictures in it, but it's pretty much focused on of course, you know, um, African American history within the context of the United States. Most of his books deal with black people on a global level. But even in this book, he touches on Africa proper, you know. So we can see here, we got pictures of some African artifacts here in the back. Also, I know he was given an award um, by His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie at some point, and I also know that he uh, Haile Selassie bought several copies of Sex and Race for his personal court that he had. So I'd say, you know, if he's a Rasta man, you know, there you go, you know. So he have a picture of Haile Selassie's here in this book, Africa's Gift to America. You know, one of the greatest man to ever walk the face of the earth. You know, it's a pity that I'm talking about Selassie's, that is. Pity that most people don't know him or even know about him or is even aware of any of his speeches. You know, basically, if they had listened to this man and take heed to what this man was saying at I think it was the League of Nations or one of those there, um, where he gave a speech. If they had took heed to him, World War II wouldn't have taken place. You know. But yeah, His Majesty, you know. Yeah, so Rogers wasn't playing, you know. I think he covered um, when Mussolini was bitching around Ethiopia. I think Rogers was a correspondent there. I think, but don't quote me on that one. But yeah, good book. Sex and Race. Well, I got call all of them good. uh, Here is a pamphlet, The Real Facts About Ethiopia by J.A. Rogers. Nice, easy, quick read for beginners. You know who can't fool with the big books. You know. Yeah, good book here. Good little pamphlet here with you know just straight up facts, no fluff, straight to the point. Pretty much all his books are like that. They pack with information, but they're straight to the point. He don't play. Real facts about Ethiopia. You know, His Majesty again on the cover. Yeah, one of the real. This is actually one of my favorite pictures of him. He look kind of rude boy, you know. Yeah. Okay, another book here is 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro with Complete Proof. Another pamphlet here is The Ku Klux Spirit by Rogers again. Um, yeah, I had it marked here. Check this out. This doing a little bit of reading I could be doing. I'm not gonna kill you with no whole pile of reading, but I think this is kind of interesting. So I'm gonna just read a little thing from the Ku Klux Spirit here real quick. The members of the Confederacy on its disbandment in April 1865 immediately began to join and to form secret societies to oppose Northerners and to keep the Negroes in what was considered their place. Many of these secret societies had been in existence long before the war. One of these, the Paddle Patrol or Patter Rollers, as the slaves call it, had been formed to keep the slaves in check and to oppose the abolitionists. By September 1865, these secret organizations existed by the hundreds. So here's Rogers telling you that you have these secret societies after the Civil War that was that was that was that basically popped up by the hundreds, and basically these secret societies goal was to uh, basically, according to them, keep black man in the place. In other words, keep black man under the heel of their boot in the United States. So these secret societies are still in existence today, and many of the members basically are in the armed forces and in the domestic police forces in the United States, and they're also infiltrated throughout the legal system. You know, that is why when you find the police shooting down black men in the States like dogs, worse than dogs, because to be honest with you, they're more humane towards dogs than they are towards black men. Shooting them down, I guess, like ducks and geese that they like to hunt, and like the lions that they like to hunt. Um, Even in the court system, nothing ever comes out of it because of these secret societies, and also these secret societies. You hear people on the internet talking about the Illuminati and all this stuff, but basically these guys have hijacked hip hop, and now we got you know, the Nicki Minaj's and the Lil Wayne's and the uh, whatever, ever, Lil Idiots out there. But I kind of going off. But basically, um, these secret societies are there to oppress you as a black man. You know, they're down with global white supremacy, and they're there to keep you down. So, here's Rogers enlightening you as to, what the deal is with them. But what I find that is so interesting about um, these people is that it's funny because black people are trendsetters. So it's funny how your oppressor will take something, which I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in a minute, but they'll take something that belongs to you and turn around and oppress you with it. For example, or have you get afraid of it. For example, the image of the swastika. I hope I pronounced that correctly. The swastika. Uh, Everybody looks at that image with disdain, loathing, fear. Uh, but that image was adopted. That symbol is thousands of years old, and it was adopted by the whatever they call them, Third Reich or whatever. And but that symbol was an African symbol that predated the rise of these Western powers, and it was a positive symbol as well. Um, uh, Actually, that symbol was on. I've seen pictures of it on, like, literally carved in stone in Ethiopia, I think, on churches and stuff like that. So they take his stuff and have you be afraid of it. So check this out, right? In the book 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro. Now bear in mind what I just said about the Klan, right? No, I don't have to show you what a Klan looks like, right? But here is where it is strongly suspected that the Klan got their uniform from. Now, here's what Rogers have to say about these guys. I can't read them Spanish names and stuff, so I'm just gonna have to stick to the topic. Not gonna much Spanish stuff here, but anyway. Now this is 100. Speaking of the parade of the Negro Brotherhood of Seville. So that is this picture is of the Negro Brotherhood of Seville, who's a kind of like religious order in Spain today, sort of secret society in a way too. Anyway, speaking of and this is the parade of the secret order of the This is the parade of the Negro Brotherhood in Seville, which is in Spain. Rogers also in some of his books he talks about how Spain was. Anyway, let me not go to that. Speaking of the parade of the Negro Brotherhood in Seville, Spain, in 1926, author Arthur Schomburg, curator of the Carnegie Library, now, West 135th Street, New York City, says, "It was only human to wish to examine the garments of the Brotherhood of the Negroes after observing the similarity to the white robes and cowls used by the Ku Klux Klan in our country. To all appearances, the American organization copied the dress of those believers in Christ." So this was some former Christian order. I think it's actually like Catholic, but anyway, not even in garments, it seems, is the American order original. They are evidently copied faithfully from the very sacred brotherhood whose devotion won them the love and gratitude of the Spanish people, from the king to peasant, pontiff, and believer. Today, the descendants of these Spanish Negroes are quite bleached from their mixing with their white neighbors, but the Negro traditions remained. So that was basically a black order. We know the word Negro basically means black in Spanish. So this is the black order. Now their descendants have bleached out over the years. Because remember now, after Queen Isabella and them got power in I think sometime the 1490s. I'm not sure if it's exactly 1492, but anyway, somewhere around in that time, They started a mass expulsion of the black Moors out of Spain, Moors in general. So they expelled them to Africa. So they didn't expel them to any other part of Europe, anywhere else, which was on the mainland, which would have been probably easier for them to do. They sent them back across the water where they had come from 700 odd years previous. I think it was 711 AD that one of the great generals, Tariq something or another, had landed in what they call the Rock of Gibraltar or something, which I think is actually even named after him. Don't quote me on that, but in these Moors had conquered Spain from 711 AD, took control of the country until round about somewhere in the 1490s when Spain took over Christian Spain, took control because these guys were Muslims, took control and expelled them out. But not all were Muslims, as we can see, because some of these Moors were actually Christian as well. So here is it, the clan who you and I, hopefully, so much loathe and have such contempt for, have copied, this really copied their uniforms from. What's that? Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting. The guy Schomburg, I think it might be actually this guy. I know this is a Schomburg, but I think that's when he was talking about the Schomburg who were making the comments earlier. I think it's actually this guy he was talking about. But anyway, World's Greatest Men of Color, Volume 1. And of course, it has women in it as well. It's not just men. And World's Greatest Men of Color, Volume 2. This don't have many pictures, but it does have a scattering of one or two pictures. But it's not you don't have much pictures, but it doesn't take away from the book. Awesome stuff. I've read these all, by the way. Yeah. Another powerful book. Nature Knows No Color Line. Yeah. So when people you're talking about those black people up in Spain and all over Europe. I could go on and on and on about those guys, but a lot of the last names in Europe descend from these guys. Again, that I could go on. I could talk for days about these guys. Ancient manuscripts here, old manuscripts depicted the blacks in them. You can't see that very well, but different coat of arms. The purpose of the blacks on these coat of arms, I can't. It's hotly contested on the internet, but I suppose there is a degree of truth to both sides. I'm sure that I shouldn't say. I know as a fact that many of these coat of arms was done by and for black people. I know that as a fact. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but I know that as a fact. I know that as a fact that their coat of arms that depicted black people on them, that was made by black orders. I know that as a fact. And it was made for and by black people. So, right? I know that's a fact. I can't say all of them were, but I know of instances where, again, coat of arms were made for, by, and for black people for their own purposes in Europe. I know that as a fact. I won't go into that in this video, but these some you know it would be nice, but one there let's put it this way. One thing that I heard someone say on the internet somewhere about, where basically they were saying, and they have a point, they were saying that for example, when you see blacks on a coat of arms, it's not necessarily a positive thing. It would be, it would be somewhere to the effect of, for example, seeing the indigenous people depicted on, say, for example, men a coat of arms in different lands. For example, Jamaica next door, that has the Taino India Taino people, original indigenous people of that land on it, but yet they were basically exterminated. I'm sure traces of their DNAs in the population. That is a fact, but that's another story. But pretty much by and large, they've been all wiped out, pretty much. But now you have them on the coat of arms. So does that mean that the early people honor these Indians? No. So so some people lay that same claim on these coat of arms, that not because they have blacks on the coat of arms mean that it's necessarily a good thing. But you gotta have naysayers. They have their points, but there's overwhelming evidence to show that might partially be true on some cases, but definitely not in all cases. And I know that the black, I mean, when the blacks, they have a black or more head on the one of the Pope's coat of arms as well. Yeah, this is another thing that is, well, I don't think you can see it here that good, but it's a double-headed. Some people say it's an eagle, some people say it's a phoenix. I don't think they really know what kind of bird it is. I think that motif was ripped from the ancient Phoenicia somewhere somewhere up in them place there. But yeah, that motif is some people say it represents the Pope's power of over spiritual life and over secular life. But I don't know. But one thing I do know is that the double-headed eagle is always showed with black people. There are other. I have other books with that showing the eagle. Actually, I have a book with or showing this bird. I have a book with a depiction of Saint Maurice, who was a black saint, who was venerated all over Europe, Switzerland, all over the place, and he actually have a banner with the double-headed eagle on it, or double-headed blackbird or whatever. But this I personally believe that this um, blackbird with the double head is significant. Somehow it ties in with the black man. You see, somehow it ties in my opinion, with the black man. And it's funny. Here's a picture, a motif of a black person. I don't know if it's a male or female, and they have well, straight up partial wings. Their hands are like wings, which is, reminiscent of some form of blackbird. See there. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, I just thought I'd share. That's actually the last book here. I just thought I'd share that with interesting persons, and anyone who is interested in seeing these books for themselves can contact me. Because I'm gonna put this actually on Facebook, and they can contact me, or send me a well, because only we can see this if you're local anyway. But they can contact me, and I can arrange for a convenient time and place for you to come and visit and have a look at these books if you're interested. So if you ever decide to buy them, at least you would have the privilege of knowing where you got buy before you go to the bookstore and order it. So I guess that's it. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. So thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Those who took the time to you know share this time with me. So anyway, thank you all, and have a great week to come. I'm out. Peace.